So CELTIC is the world industry-driven ECT, so Eureka Clusters program, ICT, information and communications technologies, not-for-profit cluster, and that's important, involving all the major ICT industry players, service providers, many SMEs, and research institutions and academia to enable a secure, trusted, and sustainable digital society. That's our motto, that's our lead message. Since we are touching 47 countries, in fact 41 countries have already participated in CELTIC projects. We are the world's largest cluster, and we are specializing in ICT, whereby ICT in our side, you will see later on in more details, we are looking at the technologies of ICT, but also the application of those technologies to enable any vertical of other industries or segment of the life that are, let's say, helped, supported, enhanced by ICT technologies. So we are not restricted to the technology of ICT systems and services only. We are also looking at large cooperations with the different verticals, and this is well transcribed in our projects. Some figures about CELTIC. Since its creation in 2003, we have performed even more than 176 projects. We must be by 180. 1.2 billion euro joint investment between public and private entities. We have generated in that way the equivalent of 11,571 and more person years work. 1,156 companies and institutions are part of the community and have participated in those projects. Nearly 41 countries, as I said. 650 patents directly generated from the project. We have, and we are proud of that, 60% of SMEs participating in our projects. That's a great achievement because many SMEs do not have access to larger programs, meaning at European Commission's level, for example, to work with big industry in Horizon, for example. Places are very expensive in terms of investing a lot in applications and then a low return on the chances to be funded. So we have 60% of SMEs and we have something like 50% of success of applications. 1,500 products and services on the market generated through those projects, 1,340 prototypes, 1,480 PhDs and MScs financed, and 4,600 scientific publications. Even if we are market oriented, shorter time to market projects and so on, we still have a very huge impact on the scientific community. So CELTIC-NEXT is open to all entities willing to align their business targets with their national public priorities by running common research, development and innovation projects to advance the development and uptake of advanced ICT solutions, such as accelerating their own time to market. And this is really working well because you are working with different countries, so these are different markets. You are working with big and smaller companies and RTOs, so you can get known, use sales channels later on, get known by those guys, and so on. That's an important aspect of the collaboration. As said, we are under the umbrella of Eureka. We are focused on next generation communications for the digital society. We have a flexible and agile community. Some of the people who have run already projects, I've seen some names, well-known names in the attendees already. And we have prominent industry players, small and medium-sized companies, academic and research institutions taking part of the projects. We are organizing regular calls like this one for the autumn 2023. This means twice a year, spring and autumn, We have larger flagship calls, which is another type of project I will explain later. And we are financed through the public and private funding, through the transnational NDNI cooperation, and we are open to any organization willing to contribute to the industry-driven European and beyond Europe ICT research program. Our mission, should move this thing, sorry. Okay. Our mission is to foster Eureka collaborative R&D program for the ICT community and the verticals, looking at collaborating with the ICT community, accelerate the deployment and uptake of advanced ICT services, so helping also the industry and research to see faster their developments in the market, and also the acceptance of those by showing test beds, tests and so on, employ the new network concept of 5G and beyond, and lead to the innovation ownership of and implementation of 6G in Eureka countries. There's a neologism here, so Eurecan, because we are since quite a lot of years larger than just Europe, and so European, I call the Eureka countries Eurecan countries. So European manufacturers and service providers should be consolidated in their position through our program. European countries' sovereignty should also be supported through the program. And the strong ambition of CELTIC-NEXT is therefore to assist European national authorities, the European industry, and European societies, make them access to social benefits, competitive advantages, commercial returns of being at the forefront of the new digital area of the society. So this is really our motto, what is pushing us to run those calls and help you in developing your projects. So next, what we do, we manage an international quality label. So, and just to be clear, we are not managing the funding. This is the work of national authorities. We are helping in different ways for this. We are helping consortia to build their project, build their consortium, have the best chances to get the label, which is in its turn helping them to get the national funding from the different national programs and calls. So we manage this international quality label that enable the international consortia to apply more successfully to the national funding schemes and assemble them to fund international cooperative innovation. This is really the core of our work. So for that, we run bottom-up calls like this one, so the spring and the autumn calls, so twice a year, and we have also flagship projects and open calls within those flagship projects. I will explain more later on. And also, since 2021, as we are now regrouped, the 5 clusters into one program, we are running joint calls. So as you can see on the right side of the screen, different banners from the different calls that we run. So what is the CELTIC communities based on? So we have a CELTIC core group, which is a certain number of large industry players, like an Ericsson, Nokia, and so on, working together in our core group to define our objectives, our SRIA, and helping projects to get birth. They are very active in the, let's say, flagship projects. They are active in the bottom-up calls projects, and they develop together with the office this document that you can see on the right side, which is our mission, vision, and roadmap document established for 4 years and reviewed every 4 years, aligned with the so-called multi-annual plan from the ECP. We are producing this document, and this document is produced via cooperations as well, but I will come back to that later on. This is the top of the community because we have the need of having people giving us the main direction. Okay, so but then each partner of a project running CELTIC-NEXT becomes a member of this community of over 1,150 members and across 41 countries. So once you go there, you get the news, you get the opportunity to check for over future participants or IDs and so on. You can attend to events, and Audrey will come back to the events side, and you are part of this community. And any contribution to this document is welcome. So you can also push ideas that you might not find in this document. You can bring us that to knowledge, and we can check if it's something that could be integrated in the next version of our roadmap, and therefore open it in the next course. That's one possibility. So we don't elaborate this SRIA only based on what our core group is saying, but we have also agreed on cooperations with two entities already. One is ESA, so the European Space Agency, where we, of course, particularly look at together at the joint roadmap on non-terrestrial networks, so on the convergence with the terrestrial networks and services. And we have also signed a memorandum of understanding. So ESA is a memorandum of intent, and with the CGIA SNS, we have also an agreement, an MOU, memorandum of understanding, to collaborate on the SRIA, the goals, and different things that you can see and you can find in our documentation online. So these agreements help us to exchange knowledge and have cross contributions to our respective SRIAs. We can leverage funding schemes across different areas and topics, calls, timing alignment, to avoid that our community suffers from having to provide applications to ESA, to the European Commission and CELTIC at the same time, which is not possible. So we try to work on this together with these two organizations. From research to market, so we are looking at where it is better to place projects with a certain TRL at starting point and at the end point. So like TRLs, increasing the TRLs through the different programs, early adopters, test beds, and so on. So we try to organize that. These let's say agreements are quite recent, so 2021-22. And we are starting working on those things together in order to best help our community, ICT community. And we offer innovative entities the full panel between top-down programs, like you can get with the European Commission, and bottom-up spaces, like you get with us for their collaborative projects. I will come in details back to this slide in the next presentation, but the basic information here is that we have this bottom-up approach. That means that any project proposal addressing any of the roadmap SRIA document topic is welcomed. We are not prescribing, okay, we want 2 projects for this part of a roadmap, 3 projects there, 1 project only here, and so on. We are open to all proposals. And the selection is really based only on the excellence of the proposal, the innovative aspects and so on. So the criteria you will see further down in another presentation about a good proposal. So as long as you are addressing 1 or more topics of the roadmap, and you are really providing a good insight into the differentiation with the state of the art, the impact, the market value, the technology value, and so on, then you have a good chance to be labeled and then to be able to address your national funding applications to the different countries involved in your consortium with a good probability to get funded because you are following all the rules that we are giving. Beside that, as I said already, there are additional focus from call to call or year to year, depending on what national calls are open in different countries in the network. So right now, in this year, and so but the list is the same as the one for spring. We have interest in non-terrestrial networks and so on this list here, but I will really come back in details to those ones in the further presentation. So I won't read all of those advantages and points here. Just moving that because I see that it comes on top of the slide. Our DNA is we are bottom up again. I won't stop saying it. You define your project proposal according to your own research interest, and you apply for the label. You have to be close to the market. So far, projects have led to more than 1,500 new and improved products and services. So what is behind that? If you have a TRL of 3, that's the limit when starting the project. The higher TRLs you reach at the end of a project, the highest chance you have to have a commercialization within the 3 years after the end of the project. So if you take a project of 3 years long and you start your development of your project at T0, we expect you to have a first commercial success at T0 plus 6 years. So 3 years of R&D and I development with CELTIC support and national support during the project duration, and then 6 years of industrialization going from TRL 6.7 to the TRL 9 that you need for commercialization. So this is where we locate ourselves. Of course, a project can be a mix of different TRLs at the start and have different maturity at the end. So those projects are also welcomed, of course, because it's difficult to foresee the total TRLs and so on. It's a science in itself. But in fact, we are looking really at financing applied research with a good potential for commercialization. You cannot come to us and having just an idea and then start from scratch the research in a CELTIC project. So there are other programs for that. We are looking really at near to market, and near to market means in our heads 3 years of project plus 3 years of industrialization to commercialization, so 6 years before you go to market. And you can be even further down the TRLs, meaning you can start the project with a TRL 5 and so on, and if you reach an higher TRL than 6, so like 7, for example, this is fine as well. But we can't as well take commercial products and just looking at extending to a new market, let's say not new market, but a new geographical market. If it's to use your existing innovation and apply it to a new field, which is innovation, it is fine, but not just a new geographical market by having one distribution partner somewhere in another country and then propose a project like that. I want to say it now because we have had such proposals, but we had to reject. We have a high success rate. So high quality proposals have a good chance for receiving funding. Average rate is between 50 and 60%, depending on the year and the call. Flexibility, project focus can be adjusted to new technological developments in the field. So we have a mechanism called project change request, PCR in our jargon. And the PCR is there to help you adapt to new conditions. It works for the technology part. That means, for example, you discover that someone has developed a new idea and you would like to test it in the project as well, and so on. So you can issue a PCR once the project has started to change that. But you can also issue PCRs at the creation of the project level. So that means, for example, you started your application with 3 countries, those partners, and so on. You got the label, you are in the process of setting up the project, and you have another country with different partners also interested to join. You can always ask us with a PCR if this is okay. That means we will reanalyze the changed consortium, the changed project description, the budget, contact the national authority that you want to add, and then if everything and everyone is okay with it, we can give you green light to pursue the creation of a project or the setup of a project on this new base. And this is also valid during the life of the project. So we are very flexible with our process, and the public authorities are supporting us in this flexibility. Of course, it has to be authorized by the national funding schemes, but this is mostly the case. I won't go to all the positive effects in details, but when you participate to a project for CELTIC, if you are an SME, you are exposed to big companies and to RTOs, so research type organizations and academia. So it is enriching both your technology intake, for example, from universities or RTOs, but also your exposure to larger companies that can be integrators of your solution into their solution. They can help you in markets and so on. So an SME has lots of advantages to take part to such projects. And this is why we have such a successful rate of participation of SMEs. For a big industry, that's an interesting place to test, try to integrate, evaluate technologies developed by SMEs and startups, and look at potential collaboration on the commercial side after the project or even starting during the project. For RTOs, it's a good place to work both with SMEs and large industry, and academia can also find, let's say, transfer potentialities for their in-lab innovations, so that they can also have a rapid prototyping enabled by this project and go beyond what a university alone can do. So you have also the transnational R&D. So that's at the type of cooperation level, and you have transnational R&D cooperation. That means that you can collaborate with countries where, if you were alone to do that, or only at the national level, finding in a target country the right people and so on is a long process and difficult and costly process. So the framework given by CELTIC and Eureka network is really helping you to have this transnational, international cooperation. The benefits, you can accelerate your growth and so on. So there's a large panel of benefits, and the opportunities as well. You will get the coaching from the office. So the office is, let's say, the operations of the cluster that I'm leading myself. I'm the director of the office for CELTIC, and we have different persons helping, including Christian Orange, who is sick today, as program manager, who is not on the daily basis, but following projects, helping project leads to organize the things, to negotiate with the public authorities when there's a need to a change, finding new partners eventually, and so on. So we are there to support you and coach you. And behind that, we have also our experts, because the companies you have seen in this core group on the organization side are providing experts to CELTIC. They are not paying any fee to CELTIC. They are providing, in fact, in-kind personal support by providing experts. There are also experts who come from themselves, not attached to any organization, but most of the experts are coming from those companies belonging to the core group, or to people who have worked a lot with CELTIC in the past and are interested to be on the opposite side or on the other side of the process. So those experts are evaluating your proposals at the call evaluation status or time, and they are also available and evaluating your project at midterm. So this is what we call the midterm review, and I will come back to that, to see if the project is running well as foreseen, and if there are deviations, then we can discuss them. They give their advice how to do that or to do even better. And there's a final review where we assess the final results of the project and we deliver the excellence level or whatever, depending on the quality of the achievements. and helping you as well to have that as a reference for the next project. So this is important to know that we are not just organizing the calls, but we are helping you, coaching you, and supporting you all along the life cycle of your project. Okay, so opportunities to collaborate globally. This is one map that is available on our website. We'll come back a little bit more in the presentation about contact your public authorities. But you have access to this network. One important point for this call, this autumn call 2023, Sweden is not participating to this call. Sweden will participate in the spring call next year. But that's the only country that is not, let's say, participating explicitly to this call. Not all countries are officially, let's say, supporting with already announced budgets and so on this call. But this is, there's a list of 21 countries that we will share in the proposers brokerage day in more details, that are supporting the call. Sometimes projects come and they have found a partner in a country that is not officially supporting the call, and there's no problem with that. We contact the public authority and we see in an ad hoc way and in a per case way if it's possible to support this specific partner. Okay. Romania is not supporting the clusters at all, none of the clusters for now, but for example, we try to discuss with them to get them supporting the clusters. So, the call process and timelines. I said we have 2 bottom-up calls per year. So you see on the top side of the slide how it is running over the time. We have a call process with different steps, and the call is here from call opening to proposal submission. Then you have from label decision to project kickoff, and then the project life cycle itself. All those information are available on our website. You have different URLs here, and you just need to get there. And when you, for example, you are on the page where this detailed process is shown, if you click on each of the boxes, you get a short information and also a further link if there's further information on the website dedicated to this part of the process. For this autumn call, we opened it 21st of July. We forgot to put the 2, sorry. We have this launch event today. There's a proposers brokerage day on the 5th of October. So unlike what was announced in the previous communication, it will be online, not hybrid. We had to take this decision because I think it's a busy time and some countries are in difficulties. So we can imagine we won't have too much on-site participation. So we prefer to go online. And for this one and the spring call, we'll have an on-site event. The deadline for the proposals is the 10th of November. So you have to create your account, put the proposal and so on, but we will come back to that. And the labels decision will be mid-end of December with a communication, if possible, still in December. If not, then the first week of January. But we try all our best to get the labels and the decisions by end of December communicated to you. That's the process, kind of zoom in on the process. We have a call opening that was done. The project portal is open. You can prepare your ID, use the brokerage tool. We will come back to that. You can propose your ID to others at the proposers day in the section of the ID pitch, and then have a first contact with public authorities. But in fact, this first contact with public authorities, it's the first, let's say, physical contact. You can have contact already now, and you should have contact already now The consortium building session is happening right after the pitch session. So that means that my colleague Christiane Reinsch will organize short calls with people who have presented their ideas, and then they can explore those ideas with people interested from the calls and the online advertisement of those ideas in WebEx sessions organized by ourselves. And we will be present as well to help, let's say, coach the session. Then after the decision of the label, from label decision to project kickoff, you have a full CELTIC proposal submission. We label the project or not. I will come to the criteria and so on, of course, later on in this morning. You have to go with the national applications when they are fully processed. There's a first PCR delivery, a first project change request explaining, okay, we have been successfully in funding and so on. There's a project start, and at the same time you need to have your cooperation, cooperation, there's a mistake here, agreement, that means your consortium agreement. And then the project can kick off, and then you have a running project and project end. We are not asking an heavy reporting during the project life. We will be in steady contact with the project lead. So we assign a project coordinator on our side, let's say a project coordinator, program coordinator, who will support the project lead that is in charge of the project as the overall project. And we will work with this project lead on solving issues during the life of the project. We will also co-organize with him the midterm review and the final term review. And you see here, and then we have a project end. Okay, what are typical bottom-up call projects? So from the size, let's say 4 to 15 participants, with all types, large industry players, SMEs, LTOs, academia, public bodies. Since we are industry driven, we expect most of the time large industry players and SMEs to lead. We might have an LTO leading an academia, but the preference goes to an industry player or an SME. Of course, if the project is such that the main let's say driver is coming from LTO academia, but has the correct TLR level for the start, then we are okay also. The number of countries involved, 3 to 7, recommended. So I explained why 3 and not 2, like the Eureka Award. Since it's based on the national funding application success, the funding, it means that the rule that says that a project can run if there are 2 countries involved means that if you make a proposal with 2 countries, and unfortunately one country does not finance your project, you are completely eliminated. At the end of the day, you have to cancel in setup or phase the project. So we recommend to have 3 countries so that you still have a chance to run the project either in an integrated way or being able to work with 2 countries and then recruit a 3rd country again with time. So therefore we recommend 3 to have a kind of resilience. Strictly more than 2 Eureka countries. This is what we mean with that. Market and tech value chains. We look at the full end-to-end technology value chain to demonstrate the full end-to-end services. So we are really looking at end-to-end, and we want to see in the project consortium the technology partners that are representing the end-to-end value chain, technology chains, but also the market value chain. So if you are targeting to do, for example, a medical service, we would expect to have an end customer of this medical service in the project consortium. Because since we are near to the market, we suppose that you are in your project discussing with the market that you want to address, so that requirements are correctly captured into your project and not something that you think that the market would need, but in fact the market is not needing it or has an overview on the topic than you have. So, and if you have an overview on the market, that's good to have a market representative in the project, because then you can test your idea with people of your future market. So that's why we are insisting in looking into the consortium structure and construction and partners that they are representing the end-to-end technology and market value chains. We have a budget and duration typically from 3 to 15 million euro. So Eureka can go from 2 to 20 because 2 is, or even lower, is from some other programs in Eureka, and 20 is something that is achieved by larger projects possibly, but we are targeting 2 to 15. 20 are okay, but the higher you go, of course, the higher requirement on national programs or number of countries, and you have to think about the difficulty to achieve that in the funding setup of your project. So we recommend 3 to 15 million. Duration, 24 months is a possibility, 48 also. So we have typically 36 months, but we have some projects that are shorter and some projects that are longer. So this is typically what happens for bottom-up calls. For flagship projects, we speak here about another mechanism. Flagship projects are based on the fact that several large industry players and several national funding authorities gather around a common topic, a relatively large topic, that they want to finance with a higher critical mass. So that means that those projects are not of the size of 3 to 15 million, but 50 to 75 million typically. They are constituted of sub-projects, so the total number of participants, for example, would be 15 to 19 in total, but with common working groups, 3 to 4 sub-projects, which leads from 15 to 20, 30 participants per sub-project, larger size, lots of participants, and so on. These are different kind of projects, and we are not addressing that in this call, but it's important for you to know that this is another possibility to work with CELTIC. These things are started by the tight cooperation of the core team of public authorities and industry players, and then it is opened up to more partners and more countries. And we are in process of creating the next flagship that will follow at the end of the current one, AINet, and I will come back to this one. And we are also looking at a non-terrestrial network one in creation. So our community is active. So that means that we get project proposals. So like in the spring call, we had 13 valid proposals for 51 million budget, 1,030 full-time equivalent, 102 participants in 21 countries. We had a labeling meeting on the 30th of June. So half of those projects got labeled. We are in process of setting them up. The bottom-up call, so the one that we are discussing now, we will have, let's say, hopefully the same level of participation, and hopefully in the week 51. So as I said, end of December, we will be able to communicate about the labels. Then we have the AINet flagship follow-up project in preparation. It's not really follow-up because from topic, it has to be distinguished, of course. It's not just a continuation. So the new ideas are crystallizing right now for this one. And we have also a 3D-net in preparation, NTN, non-terrestrial networks flagship in preparation with the collaboration of the European Space Agency. About this call, I have to check the time because I think a little bit beside the time, but okay, I will recover that in the next presentation. Call opening submission in 10th of November, decision and so evaluation labeling November, December, and for project start from March 2024 in best case. So here the same information is just to show you that we are also having events to support the projects and impact, but Audrey will come back to that. We have launch days, proposals, annual events, brokerage platform, and so on. Sorry. About the flagships, we have had in the past several flagships running SASERS and date. You see the size. They were having a very strong impact on the technology, the standards, and the market. They have been followed by an AI net, which is currently running and ending next year. You see that we have an umbrella project and then sub-projects, but this is not the topic for today. You will have an access to the slides. Again, you see the different countries with the participation in the different projects and so on. And you see just for this project, we have already before the end, nearly 200 publications, 100 PhDs, 48 patents and star contributions, 60 proof of concepts, 46 keynotes, 36 full-time hirings and so on. Purposes the brokerage days, important, but Audrey will detail that. So the conclusion of this part of the presentation this morning is join the CELTIC community, apply to transnational funding for your next steps of developments of your innovations, technologies and products and services, and get recognized, get a recognized international label. So CELTIC label is recognized. Don't be restrained to specific limit to your innovation project, bottom-up approach versus top-down approach. Get a larger visibility for collaboration with bigger guys or with smaller guys in the industry, but also with RTOs and academia. Gain commercialization channels by mixing large industry with SMEs and RTOs in near-term market innovation collaborations. Accelerate your time to market by increasing your TRLs in a near-to market funding scheme, and collaborate easily outside of Europe, Eureka network of countries, with the proven Eureka clusters mechanism, extending again your visibility and commercialization channels. And really, this is a success factor in all what we do with CELTIC and with the clusters on Eureka.